All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich Celenza. Thanks for checking out my channel. So what I want to get into today is, are you spending too much money on blades or shaving cream or shaving creams? And, I'm down with nice shaving creams and blades, don't get me wrong. And if you have the money, spend it on whatever the hell you want. But I do think sometimes regarding certain things, and shaving cream would be one of them, I think, where a lot of people end up spending a lot of money that they either can't afford or they just buy it and just for the sake of buying it for name recognition, but they can't afford it, I guess you could say. And, like for instance, The Art of Shaving, Jack Black, unbelievable products. I mean, incredible. If you can afford them, go with it. You can't say enough. They got a great product, feels great when you use it, smells great, all those type of things. But again, a lot of people, I think, through the pandemic, especially if you could afford it before, you may not be able to afford it now. So what do you kind of do, right? And if you've watched any of my previous videos, I've even done one on shaving, how to save money when shaving your head by buying your own shaver or trimmer, and also how to shave your beard and head correctly, along with how to save money when buying shaving creams. And I'm just going to give you a heads up, for instance, what I've done throughout the years. And what's kind of interesting is my girlfriend used to work at The Art of Shaving. And, I still have a close friend that's a manager at one of them as well. And, I love that product. There's no question about it. But what I realized when I was kind of, balancing everything out, because I shave my entire body besides just my face. So I do that at least once or twice a week. I've been doing it since I was in high school. I just don't like any hair on my body. And one of the things I realized is, like, when it came to shaving in general, is I went with the women's products. I went like with a Skin Mate, say, for instance. And they're only a few dollars a bottle, and I'm telling you, they're unbelievable. Also, I never cut myself. And a lot of that has to do with a certain blade, and I'll put that link below what type of blade I use, this Bic blade for shaving, because after all the years, and I'm almost like a master with a blade, a razor, or a disposable is what I should say, is between Skin Mate and this certain razor, I very seldom ever cut myself, and it just cuts unbelievably. And again, if you can afford the high-end stuff, go with it. But if you can't afford it, you can't keep up with it, you may now start considering finding other ways to shave yourself and get the same type of shave or something very close to it. And I talk about that with the trimmers as well, that a lot of times, when I've had high-end trimmers, very, very expensive, top-of-the-line trimmers that I use to shave my head, beard, and everything. And then I've also just tested very lower grade, like almost like the lowest you can go. And of course, the higher ends were a little better. But after everything was said and done, I started to master the other one as well. And again, I don't want people to always think sometimes when I'm telling people to downgrade in their life, I want you to have the best of everything. But I also want you to understand, and I discuss this a lot, I want people to understand they can live an incredible life affordably, and they can look a certain way within a certain budget. And a lot of guys I know, they just can't afford a lot of things, but they still want to look good. And, if you learn how to kind of be creative, you can go a long way. I'm telling you right now, you can look a certain way. That could go for clothing, accessories, the way you just take care of yourself, hygiene, a lot of things. You don't have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars a year. These type of things add up. Also, if you find things that are, affordable, and you, instead of spending that extra money maybe in certain areas, you could take that money and invest it or do something else with it. And, when you got money, it's wonderful, right? But I think, like a lot of people, we have money at certain times in our lives, and then we don't at others. It's just a reality. It could be if you own a business, you have good times, you have bad times. If you have a job, a lot of times you may be making a certain amount of money. Other times you may not be making as much money. You may not even have a job. Also, you may all of a sudden have a family. You may have one child, two children, three. I don't know. You may have medical expenses. Things come into play. And what I think happens to a lot of people, because I've been there, is you can't keep up sometimes with a certain lifestyle at a certain point in time, and you get depressed. You get miserable. You may really value, say, the Art of Shaving or Jack Black, that shaving cream. And I'm not telling you to get rid of it if you truly value it. But if you can't afford it anymore, what are you going to do? You still got to shave, right? You might as well start researching and figuring out what works best for you, but not settling. So when I say this, I went with a women's cream because I think it smells great, but it just works great. And I thought about women shave their entire leg, right? Most of the time, a lot of them, their pits, whatever. There's certain areas of their body. And the last thing they want to do is hurt their legs. So I said, that's when it hit me years ago and said, hey, let me try the women's shaving creams instead of just the dudes, because I would try the men's and it was kind of rough. I didn't like the way they smell necessarily, and it was just kind of just foam. With the women's, it kind of lathered up. It just felt better. Now, I'm just giving it a for example, but this is something that maybe you should consider is if, again, not spending a ton of money on, again, certain, I guess you could say, not only say shaving creams or razors, but also it could even be facial cream, right? A lot of people, I think, especially dudes, don't kid yourself. A lot of guys are buying a lot of product out there, even though they don't talk about it. They care about the way they look. They're getting facial creams or some type of body cream. They're getting eye creams. They're taking care of themselves probably more now than ever, even though they don't talk about it. Again, you may have spent a lot of money buying certain ones, which is wonderful if you can afford it. And then at other times, you may not be able to. That doesn't mean you should stop, taking care of your skin. But you need to maybe find another way to take care of yourself at this point in time is what I should be saying. So I just wanted to do a video on this because I see so many people, I guess, spending a lot of money on things that you can't avoid spending money on. There's no way, like I said, if you don't stop shaving, right, you're going to have unless you want the beard or you're going to have whatever you're going. If you're bald, for instance, or you're whatever you shave your head, you got to figure out a way to make it work for you. And I am going to say this too. A lot of guys spend money on going to get, trimmed, professionally trimmed and haircuts. So if you're bald even, and I discussed this in my video with the trimmers, and you don't know how to shave your head, but you're spending $15, $20, or $40 every few weeks getting your head shaved and maybe your beard or whatever, and you can't afford that, or you want to start saving money, consider learning how to do it yourself. I actually show you how to do that in my video, and there's other videos as well. It's very simple to shave your own head. It's very simple to learn how to trim a beard correctly. This isn't, again, rocket science. This is something that's very simple that can save you not hundreds of dollars throughout the year, thousands. So if you're saving, say, for instance, an extra $80, $100 per month, I'm just using for an example. You buy your own trimmer for $50, and now you're not, that lasts you a year instead of going to get a haircut again and spending, I don't know how many thousands a year. You want a better car, you want to upgrade somewhere else, you have that extra money now, right? Same with your shaving cream, same with your skincare, all these things. And a lot of times I think we're pitched that things are better a lot of times because of the price. And I don't think necessarily when it comes to shaving, now the product is better and the blades to a certain degree. But I found actually in the long run, a lot of times I found disposable blades that I liked better as a tool. And like I was just saying, I found creams that were literally 10% or 5% of what those cost that I liked better. So it's kind of like a car to a certain degree. Sometimes don't get me wrong, you find a vintage car that you truly love. And I have one of them where, I've had very expensive cars and I love them as well. But I have more fun in my little vintage convertible than I did in anything else. And it was, 80% less than what I used to spend on my cars. So these are the type of things I just want to teach in, on my YouTube, I guess, especially with the young guys, because I think as time goes on, a lot of people, they don't know how to save money to a certain degree. And believe me, I'm not some guru on saving money necessarily across the board. Some things, not in business, but in maybe wardrobe, hygiene, and things in that nature. But things you just got to think about. Don't look at a week or two. Look at it down the line, years, right? And, there's a lot of ways to save money. I'm telling you right now, you just got to be a little more coherent and pay attention to where these little things where you can save this extra little money here and there. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. If you get a chance, definitely check out my podcast. The Rich Celenza Show. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You get a chance, subscribe. And even if you go online, I never purchased it, but they got all these different types of razors and things. And if you have a certain brand that you love, stick with it. If you love getting your hair stylized or shaving your head if you're bald or getting the beard, do whatever the hell you got to do. I don't want anybody to stop doing what they love to do. But if there are things that you're looking to maybe change up a little bit and maybe become more self-sufficient, I guess, to a certain degree is what I'm saying. And I learned a lot of these things because I was kind of backed into a corner. I was making a lot of money and living a certain lifestyle, and then all of a sudden it all, poof, kind of disappeared. So I still wanted to look a certain way, clothing, obviously hygiene and everything else, but I had to figure out, how do I do this? So it's like anything else. It's kind of like I looked at fixing up myself, kind of like somebody who fixes up a car. I just had to learn how to work on it. And a lot of times, is if you work on your own car, you learn where to get the parts, you could save thousands of dollars. Same with yourself. If you work on yourself, you'd be shocked at what you can accomplish. And you can do it when you want to do it, which is a big difference, I think, a lot of times in life that people don't realize. For instance, shaving your head. I can shave my head at any time or place whenever I want. I don't have to wait or in line to go get my head shaved or get a beard trim or anything. I could do it when I want to do it, right? So it's just something, too, that's more convenient. So, all right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.